Okay guys, we've tested our map, we know it works, but it looks a bit cruddy, so we're going to add some lighting. So the first thing we're going to do is a bit of 3D modeling in Editor, and we're going to create a little bit of a ceiling light. So we're going to select a existing block, Func Detail, double click to check, yep, that's Func Detail, hold down Shift and drag it up to the roof. And let's make it 128 by 128. And on the front view, we're going to make it thin it out a bit. So we'll change our grid size and we'll snap it down. 8 units seems appropriate. We're going to drag it across, hold down Shift, drag, hold down Shift, drag, rescale that to about the same size, 4 across, hold down Shift, drag. Final one in the middle, make that a little bit thinner, and we're going to go to our texture application tool, browse. I've got a light white in the dev pack, and we're just going to right click here, and that's going to make that an all bright light. That doesn't actually emit light, it will just make it look as if it does. Now we've got 5 different objects here, which is not very efficient, so I'm going to get you to hit Control, hold down Control, select all of them, and hit Control T. That's how we made the Func Detail in the first place, so Control T. That's going to say, hey, you've selected all these Func Details, and we're going to say, yep, we want them to be squished down to just one entity. Hit OK, hit Apply. Now when we click on this, it's just one object. Great. So that is just the decoration, that's just the model. Now we need to add the light. So again, we go to our Entity tool, pop a terrace on the roof, double click the terrace, and basically entities are game objects for Hammer, and there is a huge list of predefined entities. It's just that the player terrace is the default one. So the entity we're looking for is light. Nice and easy. Little light bulb. Let's just make sure it's centered and snapped to the grid in all dimensions. Yep, and we'll have it just a little bit higher. I'm going to grow my grid out to get better accuracy. Great. Now if we double click on the light, we bring up some of its properties. Most of this doesn't matter for us. The thing we are interested in, however, is the brightness. So through internal testing, I've found that about 800 to 1000 brightness works out well. So what do these numbers mean? Well, the first 3 numbers are the RGB value, red, green, blue, and the last number is the actual intensity of the light, the brightness itself. So we're going to change this number to, let's just say 900. I think that'll be appropriate for a smaller map. And then we're going to pick color. Now, light, if you want to create mood in your map, you need to give your light some color. However, you only use a very subtle tint. So in this case, I'm going to do a bit of a yellow tint, increase the saturation. You can see it here, but it's just very subtle, too much, and it will look very bad. Okay, so we never want to make anything more than twice. So now that we've already made our light, we can click both of these entities, holding Control, and just drag it over. Great. Now let's compile our map and ensure that that lighting has worked correctly. F9, make sure this is unclicked, hit OK. Alright, as you can see guys, we're in the game, lights are working, they're pretty bright. We can probably drag down the light a little bit to stop that from shining so hard. Oh, we also got to remember that it's a white texture which is affecting it, but otherwise everything's looking good. Yeah, I'd probably go to 1000 brightness. We're going to change that when we get back into game. Otherwise, we're on the right track. Alright, let's just exit here. Okay guys, wasn't a huge fan of the way the lights turned out, so we're just going to quickly adjust them. First, let's select our 2 Func Details. Go to our texture application tool, browse, Bhop_dev, and we're just going to change that to an N5 dev texture, and of course we'll need to change the middle back to the white light, so right clicking here. That's going to stop it shining so brightly against the existing lights. We're going to hold down Control, select both lights, drag them down a little bit. I wasn't too happy with the color either, so we're going to change the color. maybe to more of a blue tint. And the brightness we're going to make 1050. I think that works better. This is what mapping's about. You test, you iterate, you continue on. Okay, so far we haven't actually been able to bunny hop in our maps, and that's what we're going to fix now. So most maps, most servers require that there be at least a T-spawn and a CT spawn. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a CT spawn. So holding down Shift, drag over our T, click both of them, and let's just drag them in the middle a bit. Double click one of the T's, and Info Player Terrorist. We're looking for Info Player Counter Terrorist. Hit apply there. Okay, great. So we got 2 spawns now. Now we'll need to add the server commands to allow us to bunny hop. So usually if you want to bunny hop in a level, you'll need to turn on SV Air Accelerate, SV Enable Bunny Hopping, SV Auto Bunny Hopping. We don't want to be doing that every time we test our map. We want the map to do that for us. So that's what we're going to do now. So you need to go to your entity tool, place down an entity, double click, and we're going to type in server point_server command. Hit apply. Clearly this is just an entity that can fire console commands, essentially. Double click. We're going to have to give it a name so we can reference it in other entities later. Let's just call it command fire. It doesn't really matter, you can call it whatever you want. Hold down Shift to copy this, and we're just going to turn this into a different entity called a logic auto, which is just, all this does is it helps us fire off different entities when the map spawns. So if we double click our logic auto, you'll notice up here that most entities have 5 tabs. You've got the info, the outputs, things that it fires to other entities, inputs, things that it receives, flags is special conditions for that particular entity, and viz groups is just basically like layers. You can turn certain layers off in your map to make it easier to navigate. So we need to give our logic auto some outputs. So I'm going to, down here, add an output. We're going to say on map spawn. Target entity is named command fire. Via this input, command. And the first command is going to be SV_air accelerate 1000. Hit apply. Alright, selecting this command, we're going to copy paste. Essentially the same command. We're just going to change this to enable bunny hopping _1. Copy paste SV auto bunny hopping _1, and that is essentially all the bunny hop commands we'll need for our map. However, we've got 2 spawns now, so by default we're going to spawn with a bot. So we're just going to type bot_kick. That's going to kick all the bots in the game. And we'll need one more, and that is MP_warm uptime 9999. That just changes the warm up time to a very long number, which actually gives us the chance to test our map. Hit apply there. Great. So let's ensure all those commands are working correctly in our map, and if everything goes according to plan, we should be able to bunny hop just like we would in a normal server. F9. Hey guys, I'm coming back to this video quickly because I forgot to add a couple commands to the server commands. So as well as all this, we're going to have to copy and paste a few more. So the first one we're going to need is SV stamina max 0, SV stamina jump cost 0, SV stamina land cost 0, SV max velocity 3500. Let's double check those. So basically what happened is bunny hopping is an innate part of the source engine. It's always been there. So in order to stop people bunny hopping and matchmaking, Valve had to add extra code on top of that to prevent
players being able to b-hop. So this just disables all that extra code. So SV stamina max 0, SV stamina jump cost 0, SV stamina land cost 0, SV max velocity, and there's one more, let's not forget that, stamina recovery rate 0. Stamina recovery rate 0. So if you do not have these in your template, in your commands, then you won't be jumping as high as you should be for a normal bunny hop map. So sorry I forgot that, guys, but we'll add it in now and we'll be good to go for the rest of the tutorial.
So now we can join CT. We spawned, there's no bot. You can see up the top of the screen our warm-up time is 166 minutes, and if I hold down space, yay, we can bunny hop.